12-foot golden image in the plain of Dura. Yet, right before our eyes, we see the exact same compromise. When the leaders of the church line up to bless the golden image of political empires, we have officially lost our way. We have taken the sacred fire of holy worship and laid it at the feet of human power. I want to think for a moment about the word worship with you. What comes to mind when you hear that word? Maybe it's the songs we sing. Perhaps it's the quiet time you have with the Lord in the morning. It might be the feeling you get when you stand out in nature and see the majesty of God's creation. Worship is a word we use a lot. But I fear that in our comfortable modern context, we've domesticated it. We made it safe. We made it about a feeling, a style of music, or a personal preference. But the Bible presents worship as something more radical, something more costly, and something far more definitive. Worship, at its core, is about allegiance. It's about declaring who is truly God in your life. We made it about a feeling and a style of music and a personal preference, but listen, you've got to understand that worship is a declaration that is made clear that will cost you something. And in Daniel chapter 3, we are given one of the most dramatic and well-known stories in all of Scripture. It's a story that we tell in Sunday school to wow the faith of children. But I want to suggest to you this morning that we often have missed the life-changing point of Daniel 3. We see it as a story about God's miraculous deliverance, and it is that. But the miracle is not the primary message. The heart of this story is about worship. It's about three men who understood that to worship the true God is to declare that He alone is worthy of our allegiance, even if it costs you your life. So I want you to get this. This is what I set up to say. I'm almost done. Daniel 3 says to us, as we attempt to stand for Jesus in the United States of Babylon, that you got to worship the God that you are willing to die for, not the one that threatens your life. Oh, I like the way that sounds. I want to play it for you again. I said you got to worship the God that you are willing to die for, not the one that threatens your life. Note, first of all, verses 1 through 7 of Daniel 3 speak to us about the competing altar. Let the church say the competing altar. The world's worship is always coerced and temporary. I want you to let that sink in. It's always coerced and temporary. Our story opens with King Nebuchadnezzar, a man whose identity is completely wrapped up in his own power and prestige. He has had a dream in the previous chapter, interpreted by Daniel, that revealed God's sovereign plan. The reality is that Nebuchadnezzar's kingdom was merely the head of gold on a statue that would eventually be crushed by a kingdom established by the God of heaven. But this was unacceptable for this mad king. This was a humbling revelation. But Nebuchadnezzar's reaction is not humility, it's defiance. Instead of bowing to the God of heaven, he decides to be and build his own God. Don't miss that part. I said he decides to be and build his own God, because the statue that he erected was in his own image. Verse 1 tells us that he built an image of gold, 90 feet high and 9 feet wide. Now, this is significant. The entire statue in his dream was made up of multiple metals, but his statue is all gold. It's a statement. It's his way of saying, my kingdom is not temporary. It is not just a head of gold. It is an eternal golden kingdom. I will defy the God of the Hebrews. This is the first characteristic of the world's worship. It is a worship of human invention. It is a God made in our own image, reflecting our own glory, built to our own specifications. Then he commands everyone to worship it. Verses 4 through 6 describe the scene. A herald cries out that at the sound of the music, every person, regardless of their nation, language, or people, must fall down and worship the golden image. And the penalty for disobedience is immediate and severe. You will be thrown into a blazing furnace. This is the second characteristic of the world's worship. It is the worship of coercion. It's not based on love or gratitude or inherent worthiness. It's based solely on a threat that you'll be punished, conform, or be destroyed. This is the way of the world. Are you listening to me, church? It always has been that way. You see, the world cannot persuade you with truth, so it has to pressure you with threats. It can't win your heart, so it has to threaten your body, your reputation, your comfort, and your career. And what is the result? Verse 7 says, therefore, as soon as they heard the sound of the music, all the peoples, nations, and languages fell down and worshiped the golden image. A sea of humanity bowing in unison. I hope you can see the wave in your imagination. From a distance, it looks like unity. It looks like devotion, but it's hollow, empty worship. Not a single person in that crowd is bowing out of genuine belief in Nebuchadnezzar's golden statue. They are bowing to save themselves. Their worship is a transaction. I give you this act of obedience, you let me live. Can I tell you today, that's wasted worship. Church, we must see that the altars of this world are still being erected. The music is still playing. The world has its own golden images, and it demands our worship. It may not be a 90-foot statue, but the coercion is still the same. Maybe it's the altar of cultural conformity. The music plays. The herald cries, "You must bow to this sexual ethic. You must affirm this definition of truth. You must celebrate this redefinition of humanity." And the threat is real. Bow or be canceled. Bow or be ostracized. Bow or lose your job. Bow or be labeled as a bigot. Maybe it's the altar of success and affluence. The music plays. Your worth is found in your portfolio, your identity in your title, your security in your possessions. The threats are irrelevance, being left behind, and being seen as a failure. Maybe it's the altar of approval. The music plays. What will people think of me? You don't want to be the odd one out, do you? Just go along to get along. The threat is loneliness and rejection. You see, the world's worship is always bow or burn. It's a threat-based system. And tragically, many who bear the name of Christ spend their lives bowing to these idols, wasting their worship on things that cannot save, simply to avoid the heat. But this kind of worship is temporary. Nebuchadnezzar's kingdom would fall. The statue would be torn down. The worship offered to it was a fleeting, meaningless gesture.